What's poppin' people, with your boy Zero, aka Black Goku, and today we are here with something very interesting. I was spoiled. Bro, I was spoiled. This was literally the next thing that I had to read anyway. But yeah. Look, I didn't even realize that this was going to be so short. This is very brief. That's very brief. Anyway, we're going to read the next chapter / the prologue for the next segment. Oh, well, damn. I guess I didn't have it up, but either way. We're going to be reading ReZero prologue for light novel 40. The days spent chasing that star. So I'm not gonna hold y'all. Excuse me. I'm bricked up. You're bricked up. Let's be bricked up together and read some ReZero. So like I said, prologue. The days spent chasing that star. And it's a teacup with owl in it. I wonder what that means. All right. Over and over again. When made to loop through an endless hallway, Aldebaran took a moment to ponder, and then flung open the door he had first entered through. I've been saying this for a long time now, but I am able to accept any outcome as interesting no matter the result. And I consider having my preconceived expectations overturned in experience that makes my heart throb. Huh? Then so? And yet, I wonder why this is. Even though your current actions fulfill both of the prerequisites I raised as examples, I feel somewhat annoyed. That's probably because you're discontent with the fact that I pulled the right answer on my first go. As soon as he had opened the door, the witch made an evidently displeased expression, and then began to prattle on about her mindset. To her, Aldebaran raised his voice in such manner. The endless hallway he had been tossed into, a space that continued to loop. To phrase it as the witch would, it was a place of great intrigue, but... Sorry, but I tend to pull the right answer on the first try, when it's these sort of rules. Though, from the perspective of a GM, they'd probably want me to step through all the events they prepared for me. GM? This is the first time I'm hearing that word. May I ask its meaning? Game Master. It refers to the person who has control over the location, events, and the space as a whole. Basically, that's what you are here, teacher. I see. I shall remember this. GM. 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 Muttering several times as to familiarize it to her mouth, she immediately got a hold of the pronunciation. Her ever-constant learning ability displayed to him, Aldebaran felt admiration as well as a sense of unease. The knowledge-thirsty witch had a keen interest in the unknowns being emitted from Aldebaran. However, the tree-bearing fruits of knowledge would eventually dry up, ceasing to support. Sorry, my brain, it's high key is trembling, and there's like some fucking flies. I think I got that one. But oh. Get it? Either way, damn it, flying bastards. All right, so anyway, I forgot to put music on. I mean, like, this one's gonna be super short, so low-key don't really need it. Where was I? Okay. Okay. However, the tree bearing fruits of knowledge would eventually dry up, ceasing to supply her with the apple she so dearly coveted. When that time came, by the witch Aldebaran would be. Why the long face? Is something the matter? As Aldebaran suddenly plunged himself into thought, the witch peered at him from a defenseless proximity. The smooth fluttering of beautiful white hair and the black eyes that seemed to be adorned with a blanket of snow from her long lashes. With those refined facial features and thin lips so close, Aldebaran reflexively claps the other person's face with both his hands. The witch's cheeks were smooth with a and thus made so that he would not feel flustered even at this close range. Phew, that was a close one. Wait. Is that not strange? You're handling my face so roughly. And instead of feeling guilty, you're feeling relieved? That's what's called a difference in perspective. Let go of me! With her mysterious air from a moment ago having vanished somewhere, the witch grabbed the hands of Aldebaran, which were clasping her cheeks, and tried to wriggle her way free from this treatment. But even with the witch's desperate resistance, she was far too weak and feeble. Or maybe fragile. I'm curious about which term you would select to best describe me. But for now, just get your hands... What? Pitying the excessively weak witch, the moment he released her, she tumbled over backwards, promptly supporting her with a "Whoa there!" as he was surprised by how she was lighter than she looked. You're a woman. You're a woman who seems like she would die easily. Thanks for the help, but I find what you said there a bit unexpected. Not to mention, the expression "die easily" is ill-suited to my current self. Would you not agree? Also, if we were to give points from the perspective of dying easily, you would have me beat by overwhelmingly high score. I'm not referring to your authority, but your very way of life. As the witch deliberately and thoroughly added, Aldebaran became unable to say anything. My bad. What she was saying was correct. To the point that he wished for her to be wrong. It was correct. Reluctant to have that pointed out once again, Aldebaran turned to face the door behind him and asked, "That hallway, just what was your intention in preparing it?" I thought it might serve to let you take a breather and serve as training for your ability to think logically. Unfortunately, it was far too short to be a breather, and instead of your logical thinking ability, you surmounted it through intuition. My bad. Good grief. Even when it was a work I had been so confident in, I suppose I ought to hope that somebody else might recycle it one day. I knew this was a reference to Bayako's door crossing, bro. I fucking knew it. And like the looping hallway that she... Bro. Dude. Okay. Bro. Tape cooks too much. Bro's been... Man, we've been feasting. Holy man. This is actually insane. Wait, where am I at? Oh, anyway, somebody else might recycle it one day. I shall make sure to write down the methodology in a book. The grand aspirations of the pen-ready witch notwithstanding, Aldebaran understood that the space that he had so carelessly spoiled was the crystallization of tremendously advanced yin magic. It was neither something fine to create so casually, nor was it something fine to irresponsibly do too often. The more you know, the depths only get deeper, and the mountain only gets higher. He only had an understanding of the fact that the time he was spending was luxurious, and was terribly unconfident regarding how much of a true sense actually accompanied those thoughts. All of those things could only begin to manifest once he said, "Goddamn. Oh, shit. All of those things could only begin to manifest once he had a point to reference outside of himself. And in Aldebaran's world, there existed not much other than himself. In particular, those were the witch before his eyes and Natsuki Subaru. As if to cling to his ears, as if to besmear his eardrums, as if to implant into his brain each and every time he heard it, those 6 syllables scratched at Aldebaran's being, disallowing his composure. Normally, he would think of nothing of each of those 6 syllables, but only when strung together in that order did they distort his soul. Knowing that full well, the witch who had spoken that name to Aldebaran smiled. Well then, shall we begin, Aldebaran? Yesterday, how long did it take again? 100 times exactly. Aldebaran? Even though he would never forget that, the witch who had inquired because she wanted to make Aldebaran say it was abhorrent. Abhorrent as she was, the fact that he could not fully hate her was painful, stressful, humiliating, and pathetic. If this person abandoned him, just what in the world would he have left? For himself, who by no means would ever be able to be reflected in those amethyst eyes. The eyes he desperately wished would look at him the most. What would be left? Inclining her head, the witch peered at Aldebaran. Despite the black eyes of the witch and his own black eyes, both being the same black, was the reason they did not appear as the same hue, perhaps a result of the contrast between himself and the witch. If he contrasted them like that, which one would? Those sorts of things didn't matter. He would fulfill the role desired of him, rather than being desired by nobody. This was 100 times better. This was why. That's right. It's starting, teacher. So that I may be myself. What the fuck did I just read? What the actual fuck did I just read? What the fuck did I just read? Is this the reveal? Hey, yo, dude. Hey, bro, this is easily going to be the shortest reading that we've ever done because I'm posting this separate. I'm posting this separately of the full chapter that I was going to read next. Bro. Is Al actually Subaru? As if to cling to his ears, as if to besmear his eardrums, as if to implant into his brain each and every time he heard it, those 6 syllables scratched at Aldebaran's being, disallowing his composure. Normally, he would not think nothing of each of those 6 syllables, but only when strung together in that order did they distort his soul. Knowing that full well, the witch who had spoken that name to Aldebaran smiled. Well then, shall we begin, Aldebaran? Yesterday, how long did it take again? 100 times exactly. Aldebaran? Even though he would never forget that, the witch who had inquired because she wanted to make Aldebaran say it was abhorrent. Abhorrent as she was, the fact that he could not fully hate her was painful, stressful, humiliating, and pathetic. If this person abandoned him, just what in the world would he have left? For himself, who by no means would ever be able to be reflected in those amethyst eyes. Those eyes. He desperately wished to look at him the most. What would be left? Inclining her head, the witch peered at Aldebaran. Despite the black eyes of that witch and his own black eyes, both being the same black, was the reason they did not appear as the same hue, perhaps a result of the contrast between himself with the witch? If he contrasted them like that, which one would... Those sorts of things did not matter. He would fulfill the role desired of him, rather than being desired by nobody. This was 100 times better. That was why... that's right. It's starting, teacher. So that I may be myself. What's that mean? Did he fail to... He fucking failed to save Amelia in a different timeline. And it's fucking Satella. Subaru failed to save Satella in another timeline. Somehow got... If he failed to save her, if she abandoned him and tried to get a different Subaru, but he was still in that world, it would make sense that she would ignore the failed copy, but then she could just take his power. Like, could she not take his power back? Maybe Satella gave the first Subaru return by death, but with the current, like with Al's like specific matrices and shit. Like, it was a different type of return by death. She realized maybe that type of return by death wasn't gonna be good enough. So for the next Subaru, she gave him a different type of return by death that lets him go back further, but he can't set the checkpoints. But it's always enough time for him to change his fate. Bro. This shit. Ooh. This has been your boy Zero, aka Black Goku. Tell me what you guys think in the comments about this. I know most of you guys are already past this. But, dude, let me know how y'all feel. This shit is actually crazy, bro. What the actual hell? What? Dude. Bro, leave a like, subscribe, hit that noti bell so y'all know when I post more ReZero like, I was not expecting to read this and it be that Alright. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. This shit was crazy. Peace.